The beginning of the Revolutionary War can be easily understood through a coin toss. Now, whoever gets heads has to march in lines while fighting, and they have to wear bright red. But whoever gets tails can wear any uniform they want, and they can use the environment as cover while they're fighting. The colonists won. It's tails. Now, it would be incorrect to say that the colonists strictly fought with guerrilla warfare, because they didn't. The official Continental Army under Washington fought with the traditional fighting styles of the Europeans, which is walking in a line and all wearing dark blue. Now, the militiamen, who were more numerous than the men enlisted in the Continental Army, these men fought with guerrilla tactics, and therefore they are credited in the history books as the American revolutionaries who fought with the guerrilla warfare tactics. The guerrilla tactics were much more successful than the traditional fighting styles of the Europeans, but Washington knew that in order for the United States to be recognized as a new nation, he had to make the official army, which was the Continental Army, he had to make that army fight with the traditional fighting styles known to all the major nations in the world at the time. This is the British soldier. As you can see, they have to wear a bright red uniform so they can be seen through all of the fog of war caused by the artillery which was shooting. Now, there was lots of fog because smokeless gunpowder had not yet been invented. Of course, we know that because we're from the future, unlike these little people. As you can see from this British soldier walking across this field, they would be very easy to identify and shoot at if there was opponents shooting at them from behind these trees. Bang, bang, you're dead. Oh, but Jesus. As you can see, using the environment to your advantage can be very efficient in the Revolutionary War. And it was. I know these trails well, unlike my British counterparts. One could make the very valid argument that without French support, the Americans wouldn't have been so successful during the war. The French were anxious to see the rapidly growing British Empire take a step backward, and so King Louis XVI pledged the help of his nation to the Americans. France greatly contributed to financing and handing out loans for the war, and they also contributed to the colonial pathetic naval force. Without these two essential elements of a nation at war, the colonies would have struggled much more. Please help us, King Louis XVI!
I'm French. Of course I'll help you, my little peasant colonist fellow.
In conclusion of our seminars, a vast majority of the colonists had no reason to cede from the British Empire until the British imposed such actions like the Stamp Act. This and other acts made the colonists exceedingly angry. They had never been taxed by the British government before. Why should they have to pay them now? The British were met with resistance to these new acts, and the leaders in America united the people against the British oppression. The British tried desperately to maintain control over the colonies by stationing troops there, but the Quartering Act that came along with these troops only led to more resistance in the colonies. When the British oppression became more and more extensive, the resistance became more radical and eventually violent. When the shot heard round the world was fired at Lexington, everyone knew the American Revolutionary War had begun. It seemed impossible for the colonists to win at first, but their leaders and new ways of fighting pulled them through, even with the low morale and low supplies of the soldiers. The British were the biggest and most well-trained army and navy in the world, but they were toppled by a small, undeveloped nation.
We can still see you in the camera.
Well, then get me out of the shot!
Stop making noise.
him! I'm alive!
The quartering act allowed for... The quartering act allowed for... The quartering act allowed... Here we are at Ace Hardware again, about to witness the Townshend Acts going into place. In 1767, when English Parliament has enacted this act.
Let's rewind.
Here we are in 1670... Come crawling back, eh?
Yes, sir. I'd like to purchase this window.
Well, just to let you know, the price has been raised because of the Townshend Acts, and you're going to have to pay it up.
I'm not paying anything from the British. To the British. Nothing at all.
Yes, you are, sonny.
No.
Yes? This is getting gay.
No.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
No. I don't think so.
I did.
Alright.
New.
That.
A
photo. Sorry. Good.
Revenue.
All the people were statistically shorter back in the day.
Yeah, I know. I went to a museum and I think I saw a uniform from, I don't know, it was either the Revolutionary or the Civil War. And
Okay.
I was like bigger than the uniform. We're about to go to Ace Hardware again, where someone will be trying to purchase glass with the raised price because of the Townshend Acts.
End tape.